Hey, what's up, you guys? Hey, everyone! Hello, Internet, and welcome to Game Theory. Am I a YouTuber yet? Is that how this works? Horror! It's a very popular genre of movies. I will get to that in a minute. Horror has always fascinated people from books, movies, television shows, everything. It's a genre that's very unique. It changes as time goes on, and we've seen significant changes in the genre from all sorts of media. So, what does that have to do with YouTube? Good question. So, YouTube, if you didn't know, premiered in 2006 on the internet, and since then it has only grown as a company. So, over the years, YouTube has become a more prevalent platform for creators and even big media companies. BuzzFeed and Bon Appetit, their entire presence is online, and they have teams of people that work solely on producing social media and web video. Independent creators have also started making this a career for themselves. People like Thomas Sanders, Shane Dawson, the entire Game Theory network of channels. They've made YouTube their job. These creators manage what is essentially their own companies for media, and it's based around the production of web video. They go as far as to hire people to help on larger scale projects. They can make bigger and more elaborate productions, and some of them even sell merchandise. Because of this, YouTube has become more significant to our culture. A lot of kids, instead of watching traditional television, will watch YouTube. YouTube has become so significant that it even has its own award show called the Streamies, where they award different creators for best scripted web series, best documentary, even most outstanding creator in their field. Because of ads tailored to your interests and hours of content at your fingertips, the platform has become a media empire to be reckoned with. The platform is providing creative individuals with ways to present experimental material that might not make it to normal television or film. So the question is, what does this have to do with the genre of horror? Well, as I said before, horror is an ever-changing genre because people aren't always scared of the same things in every generation. An article from California State even surmises that the level of violence in horror films, as it goes up, the age of enjoyment goes down. So older people might not find our modern slasher films as entertaining as we might. The same thing goes for old black and white horror flicks. The practical effects used in those are not considered scary now by any means, but back then they were revolutionary for their time. Novels and stories led to the production of films. Films naturally led to the production of television shows and shorter media for the shorter attention span. The natural next progression is YouTube videos. Also, considering that most of our lives are entirely online now, it only makes sense that the way that we consume media would change, and also the genre would change with it. So, as horror changes as a genre, what exactly is scary nowadays? Is this scary? Or is this scary? I realized I can't open my mouth with this one, so... Is that scary? Oh. Okay, yeah, that one might be a little bit terrifying. Sorry. The idea of what's actually scary, as I said before, has changed throughout the years with audiences and what different world events occur. So, while practical effects like these may not be considered very scary anymore, there was a point in time where they would scare the crap out of people, and that was considered high tech. What it all comes down to is the uncontrollable is what scares us the most, across any genre. It's apparent in sci-fi and paranormal movies, and especially in horror. Even though suspense as its own genre has dwindled in popularity, it's still there in modern horror movies. A major shift in genre, we've seen the subjects of horror movies go from high fantasy creatures to more sci-fi-esque things with aliens and robots. So I was gonna paint myself as a robot for this part, but this stuff makes a mess and I already have fake blood everywhere, so yeah. And now to the more modern slasher films. Betty, you might want to get that looked at. That's a little more than just a scratch. And even now, we have a very strange combination of almost all of those elements. So as the genre changes, so would the medium that we consume it in. Adapting to a more digital world, more and more media is being put on YouTube. And horror is no exception to this transfer onto a new platform. With the increase in popularity on YouTube, the genre has actually changed quite a lot, with, as I said before, creators being able to use more experimental methods for things, and it's really changing the way that horror looks at the current time. The best example of this would be Salad Fingers. Of course, it does predate the creation of YouTube, but it eventually did wind up on YouTube, which only increased its popularity in 2013. Salad Fingers, if you don't already know, is a very creepy Flash animated series that was brought about a bit before the creation of YouTube, but eventually made the transfer over and finished its run on YouTube. It follows this little green creature, humanoid green creature, it's really creepy, through a post-apocalyptic seeming world as it encounters other creatures that live in the world with it. At first it seems rather innocent, but as the series goes on, it gets worse. Some of the sound and the animation used in it is truly disturbing to watch. And it's honestly really, really creepy for an animation. Now, a series that possibly rivals the popularity of Salad Fingers that almost everyone has heard of is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. This recently shot back into popularity as they introduced a new trailer for their upcoming TV show. The trailer was called Wakey Wakey, and it shot up to trending on YouTube within the day it was released. People were really excited about this, and they have a reason to be. This series was huge whenever it came out. It's a combination of live-action performances, puppeteering, and animation, all as a spoof of a kids' show, but in the worst way possible. All of the episodes start with some kind of lesson taught by a special guest character that has to do with the lesson they'll be teaching. The first episode is taught by an anthropomorphic sketchbook that sings about creativity and how you should be creative. Slowly, this lesson starts to go downhill as the sketchbook starts to say that the puppets aren't being creative in the right way, saying the infamous line that will always be on the internet. Green is not a creative color. So from there, the entire lesson goes downhill as the puppets start to act erratically, dancing very strangely, and doing arts and crafts with things no one should do arts and crafts with. Although, I can't really pass judgment on anybody for covering a heart with glitter when I had to keep this in my dorm room. Just a thought. His name is Hubert, and he is a special effects mannequin head. I promise I'm not a serial killer. The last example that I would like to talk about on this ever-growing genre of internet horror is, personally my favorite, the adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which portrays Frankenstein as a med student with a video blog. The show is called Frankenstein MD, and it is hosted by Miss Victoria Frankenstein as she starts a web show to document her journey towards her doctorate. She's assisted by her assistant Iggy DeLacy. Igor. It's funny. And so you see her experiments up until the time that her colleague Robert dies in a mountaineering accident. And so she becomes obsessed with the idea of bringing him back to life. Wonder who the monster is. So inevitably, she does end up bringing him back to life, and hijinks ensues, as you can tell by the book and or many movie adaptations of this story. But this one is unique because of the format that it's put in. It is specifically tailored to the format of web video, and it really wouldn't work if it weren't in that format. also the more personal confessional style web vlog video style means that you get a little bit better of an idea of what the characters are really like. And I feel like it makes a better connection to any of the characters that are in the story. Overall, this method provides a very unique and fresh look into a classic that is honestly, as much as I love it, quite overdone. So, in conclusion, media changes based on the society that the product is based upon. Progress means an ever-changing view of the world, and our movies and television shows move to reflect that. As new fears appear from current world events, a different and mostly unexplored type of horror is already on the rise, and this is only exacerbated by the rise of digital media. Despite all of its shortcomings as a company as a whole, YouTube's platform does provide an excellent way to rediscover how we interact with media as a whole, and this even provides us with more interactive ways of enjoying the frightening movies that we also enjoy.